This is To Help You Heal, and I'm your host, Marie Monville. We are going to spend 10 minutes talking about healing. What kind of healing do you need? Is it in your mindset? Is it emotional healing? Is it spiritual healing? You know, there's a lot of healing that we all need, and this is where you're going to find it every week, 10 minutes on Tuesday. I'm so glad you're spending this time with me. Welcome back to another episode of To Help You Heal. This week, we're talking about what love is and what it isn't. You know, I want you to know love, to feel love, to be authentically loved and cherished for who you are, just as you are. And while there, of course, are areas about ourselves that we would want to change, it shouldn't ever be this place of manipulation or control or being put down by a partner. And I feel really passionate about this because I've found myself in many conversations lately with women who genuinely are not loved. Yet the other person is trying to make it seem as though this is love. And so I felt like it's this opportunity to say, are we really talking about this enough? Are we having these conversations with our friends, with our daughters, with our sisters? Are we checking in on relationships and saying, how are you? How are things going? How are you doing? Because I think we're not doing enough of it. And it's evidenced to me by the conversations that I have. And so, whether you find yourself on one side of this or the other, maybe you're someone who is loved, who has an incredibly supportive partner who is wonderful and cares for you. If you find yourself on that side of the equation, I want to encourage you to check in on the women in your life, to ask them about their relationships, and not just assume that everybody's okay. And if you find yourself on the other side of this and you're already starting to think that maybe this episode is for you, or you're wondering, or you've had these thoughts that you didn't think it was supposed to be like this, I want to encourage you to talk about it with someone. Send me a message. Talk about it with a friend, a family member, anyone. Because if there are things that you're not telling because you don't want people to know, that is a good indication that it's not okay. And you know, I get that sometimes it doesn't start like that. It seems good and you feel loved. And there's this place where you start to think that this is everything you've ever dreamt of. And then it turns into this empty, hollow relationship where you're clinging to the hope that it's going to be different, that something's going to change. And you just keep telling yourself, if you keep trying to make the changes that your partner demands, that it's all going to get better, and you want what it was in the beginning, so you know that it's possible, but yet the harder you try, the further you seem to be from that place. Have you found yourself in a relationship that feels like that? Oftentimes, when we find ourselves in relationships like that, it starts out in a place of obsession. It's intense, and it can feel like it's a good intensity, but often that intensity is driven by some aspect of insecurity. Oftentimes insecurity in him, but sometimes insecurity in us. And then we want to think that the relationship is passionate, but sometimes what we want to see as passion is really just jealousy and possessiveness. Are you being alienated and isolated from your friends and your family? Is he trying to keep you more to himself? Do you feel like you need to stay with him because you think you can fix him? You're hoping that the relationship will change for the better again, wanting it to be what it was when it first began, feeling this place of needing to rescue him, settling for less than you know you should be, being afraid of being alone, being stuck in an unfulfilling relationship because you're telling yourself it's better than being by yourself. If any of these things are true for you, my friend, I want to encourage you that this isn't love. That it love is not driven by insecurity. Love is not driven by jealousy. And yes, you can love a person and help them, but the point of any relationship is not to fix someone, not to fix them, not for them to constantly insist that you need to fix things about yourself, and definitely not settling for less. So let's talk about what love is, because it's more than that feeling of walking on eggshells or convincing someone to care for you the way that you need. Love is safety and trust. It's this place of security where you can be vulnerable without fear of judgment or abandonment or mocking. Love is a place of growth, but it's growth that comes from mutual respect. It's not this place of stifling who you are, it's helping you to be the best version of yourself, helping him to be the best version of himself. It's reciprocity. It's this place where it's nurtured and supported, it's mutual, not one side that's just always drained. You know, the reality is that real love doesn't demand that you become less of yourself or change. It celebrates who you are. It stands strong alongside of you, even when things aren't perfect. We think about the kind of love that has for us. Love never fails. And we should be able to say that about the love that we share with our partner. Sure, nothing's going to be perfect 100% of the time, but it's this place of honesty, of saying, I get that it's not always going to be perfect, but how good is it? And do I feel like I need the change, but I'm staying because I'm scared of the change? Are you staying because you hope it gets better and you keep telling yourself that it will, but it really hasn't? And you're scared of what's on the other side? Sometimes we stay in these places out of fear of loneliness or because we believe that we don't deserve better than this. And you do. If you're assessing your relationship and feeling like it falls in that category of not being love, I want to encourage you to take the first step. You don't have to try to figure it all out. You don't have to make a million decisions right now. You just have to take one step. And honestly, that one step is sharing your truth, your reality with someone else. Find someone who will listen to you, whether that's a counselor, a doctor, a friend, a family member, whoever it is, just tell one person. Ask them to help you figure it out, to walk with you. You don't have to make all the changes at once. It's just having the courage not to stand in the silence of this anymore. And then, as you progress through your healing journey, and it's going to take time to undo everything that's been done. When you're in this place and maybe for you, you've already come through these things, and so you are aligned with what I'm saying, and you're finding this place of similarity in some of these words. It's in the neutral moments and the moments where you're not pulled by that relationship, but close enough to it that you still remember what it was like. Write yourself a list of what love is, of what you want, of the standard that is right and right for you, what you deserve. Write it down so that if you're ever wondering, you know what's right for you. You know what you're looking for. And it's worth asking the question, is this relationship building me up or is it tearing me down? And if it's tearing me down, what do I need to do about it? And again, it's not this place where you have to figure it all out at once, but it's simply taking the first step and believing that you deserve more. You deserve to be loved for who you are right here, right now. That's all. Not loved because someone said you had to change or because you weren't enough, because you were too much of this or too little of that. Love, appreciation, acceptance for who you are today. That's what you deserve. If you're in the middle of a difficult relationship, maybe it's even worse than some of the things I've described. Friend, this podcast episode is not an accident. It's for you. And I believe that God has healing for you and that He wants freedom for you. And so, if any of this is resonating, I want to encourage you to take your first step. And if you're not sure what to do or how to find help or how to get out of it, send me a message and I will help connect you to some resources that will help you make those changes. Because no one deserves a relationship like that. You do not deserve a relationship like that. You were made for more. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If it resonated with you and you're having a hard time starting the conversation with someone, share the podcast episode. Maybe you know someone who needs it. I would encourage you to share this episode with them. If you have a friend that you know is in a difficult relationship, send them the episode and then tell them that you want to be that support person for them. And when they finish listening, they should send you a text message or give you a call. But this is an opportunity to make a change for you because you deserve to be loved. Come back next week. We're going to continue the conversation.